mess up that
Yeah,
they
but
did
not
for
the plastic.
Wednesday, so I was like, "Is that really what we should-" I don't know. But it was
Trifle.
a little bit left. Grace focused. She was like, very, and you're focused on Torres Willow Island.
Nope, no conversation.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. It's a big deal. So we didn't do Grace.
Yep, it's fully supported, but not by.
Steve uses his judgment, and
Don Jean said.
we don't, once the meeting is going, we don't edit
You
anything,
just
so.
don't, just let it go.
We
No,
officially
there's
said
actually
yes.
some last comments on there, particularly from the budget committee.
Oh, to make it real. Greatest hits.
You could, you might legal action.
So how we do,
Fans and tokens.
Grace College is gonna be.
I agree with it.
It's been like 2 hours trying to like pay a $40 deposit.
Yeah, so.
I don't think they're for their computer too much.
I'm a Hebrew minor.
I know better than I found a Scott's over the other day, and
Dean Bruin.
put it on, put it on,
You can do that as well.
Right.
See, Scott. Thanks, Andy.
I know, but I don't know why
Why'd you do it? It's so stressful.
When I first bought my truck
Oh my God.
years ago,
Still waiting for that.
I just don't
like for
I
sales,
can't
I was able to sell
wait
stuff
for
for my
someone
body
to
use.
kind of wait to put it in.
$110.
I was realizing
Perfect, yeah.
when
That's what I want, someone who's a little bit
coming up for next year, came out, sort of surprised to start here for the first time.
Get one that's
Forever. It's like stuff on this little. I would love to one day, like,
You hit
what
one
we're
year
doing.
and not.
Yeah.
It would be so
How many
exciting.
more years have you got for that?
Definitely
I
not.
mean, like, I'm so part of that.
Well, I don't.
And realistically.
Until they start coming home to. Which my son's here for the whole semester, he was doing an internship.
Chief search.
I've spent an enormous number of hours trying to get him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't stay
Really?
for
I want to.
Personnel related.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that would be rough. Hopefully he's far away from everything.
Oh, yeah. This winter.
Esther was quite. He was trying to get an internship with San Francisco for like first all last year. Didn't get it. but
And we
he'd
buy
love
the
that.
hay and
Yeah.
But when you only have one.
I don't know if either of you are around next week, but Rebecca goes back to regular classroom duty
I
and
will
can't stop
empathize
in
so
and
much
do the
more in
manifest next week.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so surrounded by children right now. I'm like, how are you this old? I cannot
It's
get
ready
away.
on Friday, Thursday, when it's ready.
Typically, it's ready late Thursday.
Yes.
People have concerns on Friday or Monday.
So the 23rd, 24th.
Monday, the office is closed.
Yeah. How late are you there on the 23rd?
Well, we have meetings, so
23rd?
the 22nd.
So lovely
20,
drinking.
no, the 21st, we have a meeting.
Well, and because that's, oh no, Martin Luther King is 20th.
Yeah.
22nd, we'll be there till 4:35.
That's a Thursday, right?
Right,
So,
so later in the meeting.
okay, all right.
So,
Let me see.
very strange to watch her all over.
I should be able to do the 23rd. Just let me know if it's not ready.
Yeah, I will.
Did I?
I assume
Yeah, yeah, all this
that
stuff.
we'll be pushing that a little bit because of
Especially
this.
after that last scene.
Should be ready earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
You need to shut that off.
No, really? You're happy. No, you're the lucky
Is that bridge in England is curved?
one. We didn't drive.
No, it looks like it.
The other
Doesn't-
way. I had a pedicure appointment, Scott picked me up,
It looks almost Scandinavian.
but it was just a polished iron.
Well, then again, that one looks like it splits
My
in the
money
middle.
would be on you,
The
though.
curved one, I'm thinking of,
My money would be on you.
it's,
I don't like to be.
it goes like this,
In my opinion.
and then to let ships go up, it tips the whole thing. So it creates like an arch.
Elliptical. I was not expecting her to be missing. She was right behind me.
Okay.
It's conceivable that someone came into the office with an issue though.
Easy to get lost on a lot of roads.
It's the snow.
Exactly.
Okay, it is Monday.
Monday, January 13th, 2025, 6 PM in the great town of Leeds. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Everybody's public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. State your name and address, come to the podium, and address comments to the board. Any takers this evening? All right, then we are going to look at our third budget planning hearing, budget public hearing. I can write. All good. All right, Mr. Andy, what do you have for us this evening?
Where would you like to start? I'm going to
I'd like to start.
see if I can get past failure to connect to server.
Okay, why don't you do that, and we'll give you a second.
Good.
Yes, Andy will tell you all the jobs that you were assigned since you were here.
So do you want to start with the operating budget or other
I mean, I don't know, did you have any other
warrants?
comments about the operating budget?
I have comments.
Okay, why don't we start with Mr. Bugby's comments?
You were gonna get us something for the fire department. Wages. What the cost would be in addition to, just like you did for everybody else.
Right, and essentially what I did was I included the fire department at 2.5 as we discussed. Because the fire department had its own adjustments planned, it didn't make very much difference with regard to their budget. I went to their current year.
Okay.
And adjusted that, but it was a very minor difference because they had a wage step and track program in place that the fire chief had budgeted for going into that.
So there was no real change in any of that?
No, and I just looked that up, hold on a second. On the budget worksheet, go away, please. Not sure why this one went to the screen. There we go. Yes. Okay, on the operating budget, I basically incorporated the 2.5% step for July into each of the salary lines. The only differences that are going to be a little off for 2.5% would be building inspector. We had discussed a wage adjustment early in the budget process for that position. So that is a little more than 2.5. The other position is the assistant town administrator that was budgeted, the budget line showed at 70,000, but it was actually a little over 71 because there was a salary adjustment a year ago with, and when the COLA kicked in July, it was slightly higher than the 70. So the budget line shows 70, but in actuality, it went up more than that.
So the 67,000, whatever you told us before, was all the salary lines plus all the benefits associated with them?
Right.
Okay.
And I have the wage calculation sheet. I went through and changed the other ancillary benefit costs as well.
Okay. So those are some of my questions.
When you get down with the change that you made in the warrant articles,
Yep.
you've got about $116,600 increase in this operating budget over last year's operating budget, which is about 2.1%.
The other thing, in terms of property insurance, property liability went up by 4,000 from what the
I-
department asked for. What was
I
that?
did increase that because I added one new dump truck that we got from the grant, and
Okay.
it made a significant jump in the rate, and realizing that I had to add another new dump truck as well, I clicked that up, hoping the board would be okay with that.
Okay. All right, those are the questions that I had. The other thing I had, which we haven't got to yet, is the 2 warrant articles for the library.
Right, I can
But that's later.
switch to warrant articles.
Someone else can both talk into it, it'd be super fun. Okay, so, I mean, is there any other comments then about the budget? Because other than that, I think the thing to decide is the wages here included 2.5, which reflects the STEP program for everybody.
Mhm.
Do we also need a cost of living adjustment for this year? Did you?
I
figure out
have
the-
cost of living adjustment information if you'd like to see it. Hold on 1 second. Giving you a draft cost of living policy that was based on these indices. The December numbers have not come out yet for the Northeast or New England. That's what it's tracking at minus December. And the first 3 indices all include Stratford County and Lee as part of their regional assignments.
So, do you have that spreadsheet that has everybody's salaries to figure out how much that costs?
Yes. So right now, this is sitting at, this shows the 2.5 step, which is an increase in wages of $56,000 across the board, and the ancillary. What would you like me to?
Well, you've got 2.5 in there already, though. What's-
Right.
But is that the STEP program, or what's?
That's the STEP program. I use this to calculate the STEP adjustment.
So basically, the STEP is really a merit, if you will.
It's a merit, and it's based on what municipal resources studies show is the increasing cost of labor in this particular region.
Which doesn't take into consideration cost of living.
It does not. They, in their intro, make clear that the wage and step, no matter how difficult the concept is to sell, should be separate from the cost of living.
So we know how much that is. Can you scroll down to the total? And the total is 2.906 million.
Yeah.
So if we can write that number down someplace, or put it in one of your cells, and then put in whatever we want to increase the COLA by, and find out what the differential is.
I'm gonna go with writing that number down,
Okay.
rather than trying to put formulas in cells in front of an audience. Well, I'm not interested in canceling student debt.
Especially if you don't have any, but some people do.
So what would you like me to change the 2.5 to?
Oh, it increased by 2.5.
Yeah.
All right, signify,
I have no idea what it's actually.
please,
Sorry.
5,
please,
please, thank you.
please, and thank you. difference is,
That's true.
I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead.
Distracted me.
Sorry.
don't distract him when he's doing his calculations.
Math is hard, man. I really gotta.
69,000? $69,060.50.
All right.
And whatever you do put in the top box drops through all the other tables, despite the fact that it doesn't change the
Hmm?
thing under each one.
Yeah, you can work on base.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah, we need to, yeah, okay. I think we should look at that. I think that takes into account cost of living and merit. 'Cause our employees do hard work and they're good at it and they try very hard and they should be rewarded and kept here. My opinion.
Mhm.
Other opinions? No one say anything.
I agree.
David agrees. Okay, so can we change that then? What do you think?
I'm voting against it.
You're voting against 5.
I'm voting against the whole thing.
Okay,
I don't think we're submitting a reasonable budget to the people, and I think if you submit this particular budget to the voters, they're gonna vote it down, and the staff is gonna get nothing,
okay.
no increases. And that's my opinion.
That's your opinion, but you haven't proposed a way to fix it.
You won't like my proposals.
Okay,
Basically, the only thing you can really do is start cutting staff, because there's no way we can increase revenue. So that's my only alternative, because the staff is the biggest part of it. Other than that, we can nickel and dime each of these line items, but I don't think that's gonna solve the problem, because just based on the numbers that I had before, we need to raise another $1.5 million. You're not gonna cut $1.5 million out of that budget without cutting
million, is
people.
that including the warrant articles? Okay.
If the warrant articles all pass.
Ms. Rossi?
Can you put the cost of living as a warrant article?
Can you put, I'm sorry?
Cost of living as a warrant article? Let the voters decide.
You could. Okay.
Just a suggestion.
That's, strangely enough, your tactics. I used myself in a town not too far away from here regularly. When we suspected we were gonna get a default budget, we often made paving and COLA warrant articles,
It's possible.
which I would be remiss if I did not follow up on my conversation with the Director of Public Works this morning, who asked me to give the board a plug for putting paving money back in the budget and not leaving it a warrant article.
At this point, we're talking about different strategies to get what we want. And sometimes that backfires on you. And the thing is, my fear is what I just said, that you're gonna push the taxpayer of the town of Lee too far, and they're gonna say no, no, no. One of the things traditionally that the voters in Lee vote for is public safety. So I suspect anything that's in the fire department or also in the police department, they don't get to choose. In terms of the fire department, the warrant articles and stuff, they can probably pass. But many other things, people are not gonna vote for us because they're tired of the increase. Right now, without that information that you just gave us in terms of what the difference is, I'm predicting the tax rate's gonna go up by 7.33%, which is $1.89 on the tax rate.
Well, I can actually give us a, try to get out of this screen. I don't even know what's open up. What did I say, 69,000?
Yeah.
So what did I have for proposed articles there? 5, 7, 9, 2, 3, plus 69, 2, 3, equals 2, change that to,
And the problem that we have is the revenue that was included for this year, because our tax rate for the town went down a little bit, not everything, just the town part. But there's like 600,000+ that got added. Part of it was Chesley Brook, part of it was interest on the PDIP that wasn't credited. Those are not coming forward. So right there, you're gonna have to make up 600,000 just to make that.
putting that COLA in there would add about 10 cents to the estimated rate. And I'm a little short on the, actually, let me change the warrant articles too, so you can see if all warrant articles passed. Which with the library warrant article in there, you're looking at a little over $1 million now. Which would take you to 608 if all the warrant articles passed. And you included the 5% COLA. So 5% track and COLA combination.
So at this point, we can go with the, let's let them decide. I'm gonna vote against it because I don't feel like giving them a budget that's appropriate, that's reasonable. And I think we're caught between a rock and a hard place.
I hear your complaint, and I think that's fair. We still haven't figured out a way to fix it. So you're-
Reduce staff and reduce services, but we're not going to, you're looking for $1.5 million, Rebecca. You're gonna have to cut tons of stuff and tons of people.
You're looking for 116 if you don't pass all the warrant articles.
116 what?
$1,000.
You're more than that.
Well, yeah, now that if you did this, yeah, you'd have. the
Because I'm looking at the
69,000.
tax rate after, because one of the things you're not looking at is revenue. Revenue is gonna be down.
Revenue is not necessarily gonna be down.
Yes, it is.
Why, I'm failing to understand why revenue would automatically be down.
Because you acknowledge 300 some odd thousand, right, from PDIP, which is you're only expecting 184, I believe it is. You had revenue of 300 some odd thousand for Chesley Brook that was included.
But what, wait, but did we have expenses of?
Yeah, you had expenses as well.
Isn't that kind of a wash?
Well, the way accounting works, municipal accounting counts that as revenue, and you're gonna have more
understand,
revenue.
But we also had higher expenses because we had to spend it on Chelsea Brook, so.
We just received a check for more rooms and meals tax money than we've ever gotten. But yeah, you'd be looking at a $185,000 difference if you added the 69,000 from the.
And I'm showing revenue is gonna be down by 532,000. Last year, we acknowledged 2.6 million. I'm only looking at 2.1 this year, unless you know something else. That's one of
don't know exactly, but.
That's one of the problems with this budget process, because we just look at expenses. We have to look at expenses and revenue. Revenue is down. So yes, you're talking about 160 whatever, but you're gonna make up the $500,000 in terms of revenue that's not gonna come in. So that both affects the tax rate. So we're just looking at the expenses. Yeah, that's great. So, that's right. So unless the two of you are interested in reducing people, it's a moot point.
John Tappan, 187 Stepping Stones Road. Don't understand what happened to paving. Last meeting, in the budget, it was reduced to 50,000, and there was a warrant article for 250. Now there's no warrant article for 250.
Yeah, well, we haven't
Still
got to that yet,
50.
but
So
I know.
There should be one.
It's Article 6.
it was, but not in what's printed.
Is it?
No.
Sorry, I got what I got off the internet, so I
Yeah,
don't
on the
know.
internet it was there, and I'm
Okay.
looking, everything's
The
changed
paper.
from what was printed.
Oh.
Paper's all different, yeah.
I have Article 6 is 200, yeah.
Yours says 250?
Yeah.
That will be picked up over there.
Oh,
I picked mine up on there.
The agenda on the
does yours say
website.
250?
Yeah.
Article 6
Oh.
is for the Lee Library building.
I had removed it from the total.
Well, it is there. That's all I can say, I'm sorry. I don't know why, it's in theirs and theirs and
Yeah.
ours,
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
just
I have it.
And yet this has updated tax
Oh,
and
maybe.
numbers.
Oh,
I don't know.
wait, maybe I don't,
I don't,
is it?
Maybe you could.
I got one red print, okay. Anyway, all right.
Okay, so it's not, do you have the right one now?
It would help if there were dates on these things. Article 6, yes. Yes.
Good.
And this is the old.
One is yourself.
See, I can,
Okay.
try to wiggle my way through $2,000 or 2,500, but $250,000 is hard.
So that was the-
okay, well, I guess I am not interested in cutting people right now before the budget fails. I mean, if the budget fails, then I guess that will be your only choice.
Sure.
So I think we can do what Ms. Rossi suggested and put 2.5 back in the budget and put 2.5 as the warrant article.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
It makes it much easier for minutes.
Yeah, all I was to do was a discussion point, but yes, so moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Should be
Yay.
warrant article or leave 2.5 in the budget?
2.5 in the budget and 2.5 in the warrant article, you said?
That was
That's
what I
what
said, yes.
that's what she said.
That was the
Yes,
motion.
are you opposed to both of those things, or?
Yes, because you put them together, so yes. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
There you go.
We'll be back on that later. Okay, is there anything else we wanna change about the budget then? Can you give me the number if we put 2.5 back into the budget, what that is? I guess that's probably the number that's right here. The
Yes,
5791581.
that is.
Okay. Why is this under, did you know? Is it the 5791581 or the 5792777 that's in the warrant article?
Okay.
Get back to my budget worksheet.
And then you want to clarify, the 2.5 in both of them, is that including the one you're including in the warrant, or does it include all the benefit costs? You didn't specify that.
The operating budget would be that 5,791,581.
And that's 2.5 merit
Yeah.
plus all the ancillaries.
Right.
Okay, and then the warrant article would be the 2.5 COLA plus the ancillaries.
Right.
And
And we
then-
have to add that to,
You want to amend that
Warrant.
motion?
Yes, as amended.
You gotta get your second too, agree, plus you already voted, so.
I kind of assumed that it was with the ancillaries.
If Dave's amenable to the change,
You should have said yes at me, I'll take that as a yes.
all right.
Okay. All right, anything else about the budget? Do you have something, Mr. Chapin?
Just while Mr. Tappan is at the microphone, I did manage to override the CRF descriptions in the background software and change the library capital reserve fund, so it no longer says library maintenance capital reserve fund
Thank you.
going forward.
I was gonna ask about that section of the budget worksheet by account. Because the last line, 01 general fund, is this week, is very different from last week, because it's missing two sections.
I ran this as just the operating budget.
Okay,
I have the ability to, you can run a budget worksheet that has, and the two sections that it's missing were for the most part zeros.
The two sections we're missing were appropriations to capital reserve funds
Right,
and appropriations to trust funds.
and they were zeroed for this year's budget under the select board and I believe under the ABC as well, so I left them off.
Yes, there was zero under the ABC, and yet the ABC actually voted on numbers for every one of them.
Right, and those numbers are in the warrant, under the warrant articles.
And what was printed last time, still had an error in it because it was missing one of the capital reserve funds. So when someone looks at the history, they don't actually see the correct history.
I can certainly put the full history in there. That's of use to the board. I didn't, I ran this just as the operating budget to avoid confusion.
This cannot-
Anything else, I'll move you to the warrant.
So we're like 4, skipping 1, 2, and 3, since they are not.
Right, and I need to change 4
Yes, please.
to the number in the, did you write down the?
579581. 5791581.
And I don't know if you're going to move these. The only reason I was asking for it was so you could make a motion.
Okay. Right. Are you prepared to vote on these articles?
The question I have is in terms of estimated tax rate impact, I don't think these numbers are correct. For instance, on number 7, you're saying 100,000 is 10 cents. And then on number 5, which is 300,000, which is 3 times, it should be 30 cents, not 39 cents. One of them is wrong, and that's disconcerting.
Could be, and I will certainly go through each of these before we get to a final budget. I'm gonna have to do them over again anyway because the numbers have changed. And depending on which warrant articles you approve as well.
Okay, and then I had a question, was number 7 a duplicate of number 13?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I believe that the library wanted to change it to 50,000, so
They
let's strike number 7.
How to get back into it, because we actually, your point of taking Article 7 out. Too many versions.
Is this, I mean, this is a PDF, is it editable?
It is not, no, this is the formal, not the ugly one that I use that is editable.
Okay.
Actually, I may be able to go to the ugly one, but.
No, that's, as long as you get the edits, I think.
So one of the questions I had was warrant Article 9. There was some discussion about 9. Hang on one second.
Number 10 needs to be changed anyways, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and see if I can get the, looks like I pulled the wrong version, if I can get to the actual. Version that we used tonight. agenda, so I got the same. Well, number 9 needs to be changed as well, and there was some discussion, there wasn't a motion made, but discussion of whether to change that to $85,000 because of the $5,000 New Hampshire grant for the skid steer. Is the board amenable to changing that to $85,000?
So really, Article 10 should be 90,000 deposited, 85 coming from taxation, 5,000 coming from unassigned fund balance.
Right.
9 or 10?
Excuse me?
Which about 10 or 9?
Yeah, actually, I should be talking about 10.
Okay.
This was the one where Mr. Tappan had recalled that you had $5,000. So I'll change that to $85,000.
No, that should stay 90,000. The source of funds should be
Right.
85,000 from taxation, 5,000 from unassigned fund balance.
And that'll calculate automatically because of the way the
Okay.
MTS software works. I have the ability to split it between multiple sources.
Good, thanks.
Article 11 came together relatively quickly, and I think if the board would
Ms. Gasper?
recognize Mrs. Casper, she can address this specifically because she knows a lot more about it than I do.
I do. We talked about it a little bit before, about the battery. When we got the bids in, it was such a low bid, so I think it all got blended together, which I think is amazing because the battery is not useful without the solar. I would just say right now that I would add to this warrant article, this amount includes the cost of solar after a 30% tax credit, the cost for a battery after a 50% Eversource grant, and a 30% tax credit, just so that's clear. But what would anyone like to know about how this would work? And one thing I'll just say up front, you just talked about one of the hardest things for a town is that we don't bring revenue, we don't bring money in. This is one of the very few things we can do that really cuts, like we're gonna spend this one time, and then our expense is going to go down for the next 25 years. It's a really huge thing. It's also adding a lot of security to the people of Lee to know that they have a safe place that'll be running regardless of what happens on the power lines outside of Lee. I would love to answer any questions anybody has.
My recollection from the material you gave me was that the offset on this is about $134,000, or am I low on that?
Yeah, yes, something like that. I don't think that numbers, but yes, if you took the, and this is the highest I think it would be. It's, like I said, it's very possible. Our goal is to help support you in applying for a solar grant. That would take that full cost away, if that's an option that is out there. And we will keep looking for savings. There are some other things that we can try to look at too by putting this out for bid and seeing other, we had some other lower bids. We want to make sure you have the full amount for whatever it is you really want to do.
So, talk to us about, so it's an array plus a battery.
Yep.
Plus a generator to start the battery.
So one of the solar companies suggested that that was how they would do it. Other ones would not. So that's one of those things where it's like, let's make sure we have all the options in this warrant article. And then if it turns out that you get people explaining to you a way that it works, many of the batteries I've seen have nothing to do with having an extra generator, so I was a little surprised by that. But that was just to make sure it's an option.
So what's the plan to put this array on the roof, or where would you put it?
This particular option has both on the roof and also one standing pole array that's next to the annex. That is one developer's option. I think that there are a lot of different options. Another one suggested having it in the really sweet spot on that one side that's by the entrance to the library on that roof, and then also using the less valuable space there for more. So that can be gone into really like details once you get RFPs from other, but right now, like I said, we only have 2, and only one of them has actually been to the building. If they know you're actually gonna go forward with this, then they will actually come out and give you a really good bid.
Okay. One of the complicating factors that probably isn't that complicating is the potential for tree removal. I believe as you're facing the library main entrance to the right,
No one, yeah, no one's actually asked us to remove those trees yet, so
Okay,
it's just that,
I know it's been
Shag Bark
discussed,
Hickory.
but,
Yeah, it was, I thought it was gonna be that side too, but there's not enough sun there, because we're looking at the southwest. That Shagbark Hickory has to go, I think, for other reasons anyway. It's, leaves a lot of stuff and it's not a great tree. That would definitely have to come down. And if you wanted to maximize your amount of solar, there is one white pine that's on the edge of our property that is old and will probably come down on its own, but also, it's right now a danger to the, what are we calling the shed?
Hobo.
The hobo shed.
No.
The tool shed with the
Tool shed.
hobo.
Tool-
Yes. with the-
Sure, so that's something everyone can discuss down the road, but right now you'd have enough solar to.
Is that tree actually on our property?
I don't know,
I don't
it
think
might
it
on the
be,
edge.
might be on the edge.
Yeah.
Whose property?
12 Point LLC, I believe, is the owner.
Is it? Okay. Well, then, that's, nature will take care of that. Absolutely.
This is McKinnon property.
Have we taken trees though that, on that property anyways, they were very happy to let us take?
Yeah.
Well, it's possible, but,
I
yeah.
believe the DPW director had some conversation with abutters about whether they would be upset if trees disappeared, and I don't think they would
I
be.
can say, I believe that they were particularly happy to have the
It'd be
trees.
smart to look at how it would affect the shed if we are going to continue to. We'll be concerned with its longevity.
Okay,
Anything else? No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
How much battery storage is there? How many
That's
days can we live in
So
that?
that's 2 full days of nothing, like there's a dark cloud, nothing's happening to the solar, it's like dark as night for 2 days. As soon as you start to get a little bit of light through, it can last longer, the minimum you have. And I think that's one of the reasons that this particular company, Barrington Solar, suggested having a backup generator, because you have the backup to the backup. That's something we can go into details more on, but you'd have 2 days. On the other hand, if you have, the storm is for 2 days, and then it starts to pass and the sun comes back out, that's an indefinite. That can go on for 5 months. You'll have some days where it's raining and it'll have less, and there'll be some days where it's more and it's producing more. One of the things is that in order to make this work, as we discussed before, for high peak times, when we have almost too much solar being produced in the really, really heat of summer, when people need their ACs on, Eversource for 3 years would have the right to draw from the battery to help with that demand, which is great. You just replace it with the sun, it's a really sunny day. You have to have enough solar to last in the winter when there's less sun, so that's fine. But after 3 years, that becomes either revenue generating for us as an option, or depending on how the laws go forward, that is a really great opportunity for the town to have something that they can use. Maybe they can use that energy in another building, or they could, whatever. But once it's up and running, it's a mini grid, and it could go on indefinitely.
And they can't take the energy in the winter,
No,
only in the summer when there's.
and they have a certain number of times in the contract, I think Andy has that, how many times you can take it down, and it's not gonna be that many, it'll be less than that. And it's only when there's no storm coming. So let's say there was a huge storm, but also high demand, they wouldn't be able to take it out, because we wanna make sure you have 2 full days at all times, anytime the town might need it. That's the priority.
So, just on average, because it's more in the summertime and less in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But, so, let's say in the summertime, is this particular array gonna provide all the power that they need, or only part of the power that they need?
That's such a good question. I've looked at so many of these recently, so I think this one is all the power, but not, if it's running for the generator, that the battery
Yeah.
wouldn't have all the power running, but the solar would be enough for all the power. Does that sound correct to you? I don't know. I can look into that one.
Okay.
But it should be able to, the point is to have it have enough solar that you are not worrying about paying for electricity on the
So-
library.
If anything, this will reduce the energy cost in that particular facility.
This will take, yeah, so as long as it's covering all their energy, it will take the expense of electricity off the charts. They won't have to worry about that anymore. That's an unknowable that's now known. It's free, once we make this payment.
And then what's their electricity usage per year?
That, I do not have that.
And I don't have it with me either, but,
I know, I have it in all my like, charts. I have it all.
I will say that electricity, literally in the last month, just doubled. We went from $400 to just under $800 in a month.
And you can't control
So,
it.
and you can't control it, so we've been varying somewhere around the 300 or so mark. Then it kind of slowly creeped up to 400 or 500. This month was just below 800. And that comes out of obviously my operating budget, which, you know, that makes a huge difference to what we ask for obviously every year, and the benefits
Yeah,
later
to
to
have
the
that
town.
steady would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Same with the article to buy the solar array. We are not really receiving any benefits on the transfer station until we purchase that array. And that's when we start to really see the money coming back towards us and paying off all those things.
There's a little margin there.
What, $1,000? Very small.
1,400, wasn't it?
Yeah.
1,400 last
As
quarter.
soon as we buy it, those numbers change dramatically. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, anything else on the warrant articles, Mr. Randy?
Just scroll down through them.
Can we do the earlier ones?
Yep. Do the operating budget.
So will there be a motion from the floor to move the session to change this fire department amount again? I wasn't there last year, but somebody made a motion from the floor.
They did. They did.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember who made it.
What
Well,
was,
somebody did.
what'd they
in the
change?
past. They changed it back to 175,000
Uh-huh.
because they said it's too much money.
Yeah, where's my? So right now, in that fire equipment capital reserve fund, or as of the end of the year, you had $658,281. The chairman of the trustees had given me a cheat sheet to use for budget sessions.
Yeah, he's good about that.
Mr. Tappan?
John Tappan, 187 Stepping Stones Road. What Selectman Bugley is remembering didn't happen at deliberative session, that happened during budget hearing,
Oh, it did?
right in this room. And at that time, the FT was recommending 275, and it was changed to 175. And I should also say, I went back to the FPT and made some increase to my estimate of future interest rates. Added 1% to the rate, and it does not make much of a difference. It brings this number from 302,000 down to 292. But I was feeling that there's something kind of scary about a big number followed by lots of zeros, which is why stores end everything in 99 cents or 97.
Are you suggesting make it 299, 99, 99?
It's up there before me.
275 or 290? If you're scared.
I'm willing to entertain either. Comments on making it 2 something, bringing it down a little?
I'm not in favor of 300,000.
Okay. Are you in favor of 275?
I'm in favor of something less.
Okay, would you like to tell me what it is, I don't forget?
I don't like any of those numbers up there at all, but, yeah, I know. We've asked, have you asked the chief? You did ask the chief.
Yes,
as I remember.
Mr. Tappan, myself, and Mr. Newman have all discussed.
The thing that's driving this, in terms of, for people that are listening, is anticipating that the next vehicle that needs to be replaced in the fire department is gonna cost $1.2 million. So to make that particular amount available at that particular time, we have to continue to put $300,000 into that account. That's why the number is so high, based on what that particular need is. So, these one by one, or,
Might as well.
okay, go ahead.
Do you have a number you feel better about here? I mean,
I don't, like I said, I don't feel comfortable about any of these numbers, but
okay,
if you and Dave would like to try 300,000, that's fine. I'll vote against it, but
okay. Well, I don't think it's gonna do much good. We can make, I'm in favor of changing it to 275.
okay.
I'd use those 250.
250? I mean, it's all gonna come due eventually.
I think at some point we need to look at other options, because we cannot continue to do this year after year. Unless the revenue changes, unless the state, says, oh boy, you're gonna get so much extra money. This is gonna continue year after year. This seems bad, next year it's gonna be worse. So,
Right? I move it to 250. Dave seconds. Okay,
Second.
we want to vote on this article so we can
Sure.
change that. All those in favor of the article with the addition of 250 there instead?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed?
nay.
So
Number 6.
Board does approve that one. All right, Article 6. $250 for, $250,000 for the purposes of paving.
I'm kind of in agreement with the DPW director. I
Yeah.
think this is gonna get voted down, he's gonna get 50,000 and that's it.
Okay,
I'd like to see us at least put something in the operating budget, and we can leave something out here, but. You want a free trial, come on.
I was trying to, that didn't let me do that language.
I think we need to send Andy to Airtame School. I think that's where it needs to go.
what
This,
happens when you push those arrows?
Yeah. It keeps going back, it's a pain.
Ah.
Yeah.
It didn't do what I wanted it to do, but at least I was able to. I was going to attempt to edit the library warrant article, but
That's not what you did.
it's not letting me do it
Great.
unless I sign up for a free trial.
I heard you saying, so when Steve was here, he said he doesn't have the 300, he only needs 50.
Yeah.
So putting half of it in the budget doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what is he gonna use the 50 for?
To buy, he told us, skims and something else, shims,
Skimming?
Maybe some
Shimming?
shims and patching.
Shimming.
shims and patching, that's what he said he was going to use it for.
The problem with small amounts for the paving budget is multi-fold. We're at the low end of the pecking order for
Yeah.
pavement bids and pavement contracts anyway, and if you get too small, you don't get a lot of bid interest, and if you do get bids, you don't get a lot of timely action on your.
Well, he said the road that needs to be paved this coming town is one giant road and needs the 250 to do it. So I don't see any reason to put half of it someplace and half of there. I think it's all or nothing. So I don't agree with that. Okay,
Question?
question, yes.
John Tappan, 27 Stepping Stones Road. If we're at the bottom of the pecking order because we don't pave a lot of roads at one time, then maybe we could have a capital reserve fund and we only do paving every other year, or maybe every third year. I don't know what problem that would cause for personnel for the time involved in paving, but it could save money if it costs less per mile when you do more miles at one time.
Good idea.
I don't see us being done with us this evening, so would you see what Steve thinks about that idea? When his
Sure.
kitchen is flooded. Okay, let's skip this one then for now. We're striking number 7, because it's a duplicate.
Yep.
which of course changes all the numbering, I understand. I'm gonna keep going with
Don't
the
change
current
it yet.
numbering, because that will keep
Yeah,
freaking
Probably
everybody
why
out.
it's a duplicate, because I was changing all the numbering as I listed other things.
Okay, so article number 8, fund the Lands Capital Reserve Fund to come from the unassigned fund balance. Questions, comments about that one? No? Okay, let's vote then on moving article 8. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No, you need a second.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Aye, thank you.
Aye.
Okay, number 9, comments about number 9. Sorry, Ms. Chavanian?
When you're approving these warrant articles, you're voting on it to approve them? Are you also approving the estimated tax rate impact?
No. Well, this one,
number?
yes, but the other one.
Because that is part of what's written in the warrant article.
Yep.
And most of those are incorrect.
Yeah, and there's no
And
real way to get around that when you're changing the numbers in the budget as we sit here.
Right, so I say, so let me be very clear. I guess what I'm voting on is whether or not we recommend this article. Andy can fix the numbers and the tax book, we can move all of it next week
And you'll get a
with correct numbers.
cleaned up and corrected version next meeting.
Okay, thank you for making me be clearer. Though this one has the right tax impact, so that's awesome.
Well,
Of 0.
Yes, that is correct.
Yay, okay.
the others are going to change.
I appreciate that, thank you. Article number 9, comments about number 9, which is $100,000 for the Highway Department Road and Bridge Improvement Plan Capital Reserve Fund. And I went through FPT saying all these things, unless we want to change our plan.
Yep.
Okay, so, I move that we recommend this article.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Number 10, we'll have the correction of $5,000 coming from the unassigned fund balance and 85 from taxation. Do we recommend the article with those corrections?
Yes.
Yes. Second.
Aye. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, article number 11, also the correction of the cost of a battery after a 50% Eversource grant and a 30% tax credit. That correction needs to be made. With that correction, I move that we recommend this article.
Those are the tweaks that Katrina said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I move that we recommend this article.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, highway equipment capital reserve fund of $50,000. Okay, I can make corrections on that one, other than the exception of possibly the tax rate. Okay. Do we recommend, I move that we recommend this article?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 13. The $50,000 for the Lee Library Building Capital Reserve Fund. Is that the right one?
Yes.
yes.
Making sure.
That's the correct one.
That one has too many words, I always go to that. All right, comments about this one?
I am not in favor of it. I think the library needs to take time out. And if they need to use money, they can use some money from their foundation money. I think based on the tightness that we have in terms of our operating budget and our stuff, they can take a break for a year.
Okay,
That's just my thought.
comments from me? Would you like to say anything? Are you gesturing at me? Oh, I thought you were gesturing at me.
I second.
Okay. All right,
I did the last time. Okay. That's right. Beating your head.
okay, then the select board, I move that we select board recommends this article. All those in, or, sorry, someone's got a second.
Want the second?
Okay.
In that case, if you don't get a second, motion fails.
Okay, motion fails.
13 will be stricken.
I mean, stricken.
Removed.
Removed. I don't know what we were saying. I think what we were saying was whether or not we recommended the article.
The select board has, if you recommend it, you put it on the
Oh, if
warrant.
you don't
If you don't
recommend
recommend
it,
it, it comes off the
Okay,
warrant. Tomorrow is the last day to recommend those, so.
okay.
Yeah, because.
Article 14.
Didn't answer me.
He's not a speaker.
But he was. Oh,
14, anything about the solar energy system capital reserve fund? Okay, then I move that we recommend this article.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can,
Should I just say something?
may I say something?
Yes, please.
Katrina Pluckett, library trustee, and I live on Wiswall. You guys are nowhere near your microphones, and you're talking that direction, but
I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
that's okay, I know. So what happened with Article 13? Because I don't remember there as actually being a vote.
There wasn't a vote because no one would second it. So the motion failed.
It's not recommended, and it would come off the warrant unless the board made some special appropriation,
Thank you.
which last year you agreed to place the library warrant article on the warrant without recommending it, which turned out to be legal, but was very complicated for the Department of Revenue to account for. But if they don't do that, if they don't approve it,
Right.
it
Okay.
comes off the warrant.
Sorry, totally not related.
Okay.
So tomorrow's the last day for articles to be submitted.
I'm sorry, what?
Andy wants to know that tomorrow's the last day for petition
Tuesday the
articles.
14th, no, Tuesday the 14th is the last day for warrant articles to be presented to the select board to approve. Friday the 10th was the last day
Oh.
Yeah,
for
we are.
petition warrant
Never
articles.
mind.
That's frequently the way it works, that if something gets taken off, it's too late for the deadline.
I understand.
Right.
Okay. 15, 25,000 to be deposited into the fire ponds and cisterns capital reserve fund. I move that we recommend this article.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 16, $20,000 to be deposited into the internal service expendable trust fund for accrued benefits. I recommend that we move this article.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 15,000 for the cemetery fencing capital reserve fund, Article 17. And I recommend that we move this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 18, $10,000 to be deposited into the reevaluation capital reserve fund. I move this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and Article 19, $20,000 contingency fund. To be raised, no amount to be raised from general taxation. I move that we move it to the warrant. I don't know what the right words are.
Second.
All those in favor? In the chair?
Aye.
Can't miss it again. All right,
You'll get it eventually.
Article 20. Raise and appropriate the sum of $4,320.87 from the sale of timber to be deposited into the Conservation Land Stewardship Trust Fund previously established. Money to come from the unassigned fund balance. Motion to move this article.
To
To vote.
recommend it, yes.
Yes.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 21.
These are essentially housekeeping warrant articles, one of which, the 4114A, the next warrant article came up when we discussed getting rid of the right-of-way for trail property.
And we're on 21, so don't confuse us. 21. So what's up for 21? I thought we had this already. Sorry.
Not that we could find, and I actually called the Department of Revenue because they keep track of, for considerable length of time, what you passed.
So we've been doing this, so
That's why we thought it was
we're
important.
doing it after the fact. Okay, that's not good.
And it will also allow us to get easements for drainage on some roads that we've been working on, Decato and James Farm.
Okay,
Legally can't we can't do drainage easements until we adopt this as well.
okay.
Well, that's Article 22, though.
Is that- yeah.
Sorry.
Was there anything on 21?
This is not 21.
So,
There's no record of 21 being, the 3195B being passed.
but we've been doing that, so, okay, all right, so, okay. yeah.
Okay, so we should, okay, I motion that we recommend that article.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Great. Number 22,
Yes, 22.
which allows us to acquire and sell land and apparently drainage easements.
This has occurred previously too, and I know in discussions with Karen when we were talking about whether this had actually been passed. We couldn't find it in record, and again, I called the Department of Revenue, and they said they had no record of the town of Lee passing this.
So
And
have
yes,
we
we've been
done-
doing this too.
Yes, we've been doing this too. Great. Okay, I move that we recommend this article.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, then we've got 23 here, which is our edit to the tax credit for the veterans, right?
Yes, this is for totally disabled veterans. You have the ability to offer between $700 and $4,000 by way of tax credit. We have been at $1,400, and I was approached by a resident who asked me to bring this to the board, which I did at the last meeting.
So is there supposed to be a question mark in there? Really?
Well,
So the top, modify the,
shall you?
I deleted it, I do 2,000.
I deleted it.
It's okay, it's good.
all right, so, okay. So how many people would this affect?
After discussing a little bit with the town clerk and looking at what we have right now, I'm thinking that the number is about 3.
Is there a reason why this one's a shall and the other ones are if, or do see if?
This language, and the reason that
Copy and
question mark
paste.
is there, and the reason it says shall is because it's RSA prescribed language that is specific, and I copied it
Okay.
Okay.
exactly as it was presented in the
I have a
RSA.
question for clarity. So we're allowed to give a disabled vet up to $4,000?
Yes.
Why aren't we
Well,
going to the 4,000 for a disabled vet?
I think the board had looked at a prior meeting, I had read to you, I believe, what the other Stratford County towns
with the
are
other towns.
offering. There's a low of 700 in the towns surrounding us. There are 2 towns in Stratford County that offer 4,000. Everybody else is in the middle.
I think as Lee, we should be a trendsetter and go with 4,000 for a 100% disabled vet. And we only have 3 properties? Just
How
mine.
strongly do you feel about this, Ms. Ross?
A disabled vet, very strongly.
Very strongly.
And very appreciative for their service and thankful. So for 3 properties, we should go to 4,000.
Now, this is a credit against their tax bill, correct?
This is a full credit, yes.
Not a reduction of their assessment.
No. It is a genuine credit on your taxes.
All right, I move to amend Article number 23 to increase the amount from 2,000 as stated to 4,000.
Second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This will make one local resident very happy because now he can decide whether he wants to attend deliberative session or not.
Tell him I won't be there, so
Tell him he
he's gonna.
should come regardless because it's important.
You're not gonna be there, Scott?
No,
No.
he's not.
I have to work.
Yeah, just like
You
last
know,
year.
first year,
Yeah, a lot of
second,
those
third
years.
year.
Talk to my boss, it's drill weekend on the base, and I have
What's
to
his
be there.
number?
What?
What's his number?
If you'd like to call him, it's 603-570-6903. He's a 2-star general, and he's not gonna take any crap from you, so.
Well, you can tell him that I just voiced to increase our disabled vet credit, that you were only gonna do 2,000.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, but I just changed it to 4, come on.
After whose recommendation?
That's because you're so influential, Karen Rossi, in this town.
Okay, well done.
Do I have to give credit?
In that fire zone?
Yes, please call the gentleman up or person up, I actually don't know what their sex is, and let them know that Karen
Should I
Rossi
give
is
credit to the people that influenced the warrant articles?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
put down Her Majesty Karen Rossi said.
And
Put
then
that
we're
in
gonna
the
have,
voters guide.
okay, yeah. put
Just
right
to let
in.
everybody know, Karen Rossi has a tiara that I gave her, but she never wears it. So she's like royalty kind of.
Where is it in her mind?
No, she physically hasn't.
I do.
Whether she wants it or not.
Where did we land on the paving, Article 6?
We're leaving
We're
it
gonna, I'm gonna
as is.
talk with Steve Bullock about his thoughts on a capital reserve fund and skipping year on year.
And then different, because of the article for the 2.5% plus incidentals to be added. Lots of
He
notes
had
for you
everything
guys.
else except that. I actually had Steve Bullock.
Okay,
Oh.
Scroll,
and
scroll,
that's it.
scroll, scroll, that's it.
Yeah, okay. For now, we're gonna have to fix it and bring it back next week.
So someplace we have to zip over and sign this, right?
Oh,
I have to modify it and
Okay.
bring it back to you for the 21st. We also have to wait through the day tomorrow to see if anyone else submits a warrant article for you to consider.
closer. Okay, any other comments about the budget hearing I would like to share? Okay, I'm going to continue the budget hearing until next Tuesday. At 6 o'clock. That would be the 21st. All right, regular business.
I do not have much in the way of regular business, other than I had forwarded an email. I did talk to Sean Kelly at Municipal Resources, Inc., for the board's request about campaign for police chief candidates upon Tom's retirement. And Tom did talk to me after that meeting and give me an idea of when he is looking to retire. He said I did talk to Sean. He felt the process in that timeline was very doable, and referred me to their recent search in New Durham for a new police chief about the same size town. And strangely enough, I believe, and Tom is aware of this, New Durham is actually hiring a former Lee officer, or is offering the position to a former Lee officer to be chief.
Okay,
Found him to be highly qualified.
well, that's kudos to our chief.
So can we, after the chief gives us his official retirement and his date, can we engage them to do the assisted search?
Right, and I would suggest engaging them fairly soon. I have a reasonable idea of when the chief is looking to retire. He was very forthright with what his plans are right now. So sooner rather than later is a good idea, I think.
Okay.
That's on an hourly basis, right?
It is. Their package, they do a full hire package, which is fairly expensive. Sean did not recommend that. He said, I think you would definitely be wasting your money to pay us for the full package. Basically, the outline as presented, they will bring you vetted candidates that they are willing to vouch for. And my understanding is that they are aware of some possible candidates. We have Tom, the Chief Dronsfield, has provided resumes to a couple of candidates. And I know there has been some discussion from other folks that are interested as well.
Okay. What do you need from us? Do you need us to motion to hire them for the assisted search at
I
this
would
point?
need, the way the agreement was set up, it was, he put the town administrator's signature on that, and if you could authorize me to enter into agreement with them, they'll give us a hard and fast estimate of cost. I think the initial estimate, their baseline is $115 an hour. He will give me a specific hourly.
In the contract, did they specify in terms of how many qualified candidates they'll send us?
Yes, I believe the number was, that they will guarantee you a base of 6.
I move to authorize the town administrator to engage MRI in the assisted search for a new police chief.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Andy?
I have nothing else this time.
There is non-public on here, but is it just a
You don't
placeholder?
need it.
Okay, then
Oh,
I
you don't?
No.
Then I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No idea how we got that picture on the water. I have taken that out of this place.
I didn't see it.